This is Jackanory Jr. Hi everyone, my name's George. As you know who I am really, the GJDJ of this YouTube channel. If any of you are farmers, or you live on a farm, if you've got a cow and you decide to trade it for a handful of magic beans, are they just for eating? Or are they for growing? Well, this story I'm about to tell you is all about this little boy called Jack who gets himself a handful of magic beans and grows an enormous beanstalk. It's called Jack and the Beanstalk. I think you lot should know this story from now on, but it's not the normal story you might have heard of before. It's a little twist and turny, this one. Hope you're sitting comfortably, because I'm going to begin this story right now. Once upon a time there lived a very poor widow and her son Jack. The only possession was an old milking cow. They couldn't afford any food or any fond of clothing. So one day the mother decided to sell the milking cow. Jack loved the milking cow, but was very sad to sell her at the market one day. When he got to the market, he met a very kind man who offered to buy his cow for a handful of beans. "I'll take good care of her," said the very kind man, offering Jack the beans. "And these aren't normal beans, they're magic." Jack very kindly gave the man the milking cow, and the man gave him the beans. But then Jack ran home happily to tell his mother about it. But when he arrived home, his mother wasn't happy at all. "You sold our only possession for magic beans?" she gasped, and then threw the beans angrily out of the window. Then she sent Jack to bed. The next morning, when Jack woke up, when he opened his curtains, he had a big surprise just waiting outside for him. Outside his window had grown an enormous beanstalk. He looked up and up, but the beanstalk had grown up right through the clouds. Jack ran outside to take a closer look at the beanstalk. "Maybe I can find some money to buy food at the top of the beanstalk," thought Jack, and without further delay he bravely started to climb the enormous beanstalk. Up and up he climbed. Higher and higher he climbed. Up through the clouds he climbed. As soon as Jack had climbed right to the top of the beanstalk, he went through a cloud, and he was totally amazed at what he saw. On top of the cloud was a whole magical land with a giant castle. Jack leapt off the beanstalk and walked towards the enormous castle. He opened the large door and crept inside. The rooms were completely covered in gold. There was golden tables and chairs, and even golden carpets, and everything was large enough for a giant. Then Jack shuddered as he heard a loud booming voice. It was loud enough to belong to a giant. "Fee, fi, fo, thum, I smell the blood of an Englishman." Little Jack climbed up the golden table and hid quickly inside a very small golden mug. When he peered over the rim of the mug, he caught sight of the giant who was searching the room hungrily to find him. The giant looked behind the curtains, inside the fireplace, and even under the table, but he didn't find Jack. Then the giant seized a small golden cage which had been placed on top of the fireplace. Inside the cage was a very small goose. "Have you seen anyone here?" boomed the giant to the goose. "No, I haven't," quacked the goose nervously. The giant put the goose in its cage back on the fireplace and stormed out of the room to continue his search for Jack. As soon as the giant's footsteps had faded away, Jack crept out of the golden mug and slid back down the table leg. He was about to creep out of the castle, when he heard a frightened quack behind him. "Please take me with you." He desperately wanted to escape from the giant and go back home, but when he looked at the goose, she looked very sad. Without a second thought, Jack ran back across the room and started his long climb at the fireplace. Up and up he climbed. "Hold on tight," whispered Jack, as he took the goose out of the cage and placed her under his arm. Then Jack ran out of the castle as fast as his legs could carry him. But when he reached the beanstalk, he heard the giant's loud, booming voice again. "Fee, fi, fo, fum, I smell the blood of an Englishman." Jack started to climb down the beanstalk with the goose safely under his arm. Jack was about to reach the ground, and when he did hit the ground, his mum came out and was wondering what on earth was going on. The giant was starting to come down the beanstalk. Jack was in shock. "Bring me an axe!" shouted Jack to his mother, and with one tremendous swing of the axe, Jack managed to chop down the beanstalk. The giant just managed to get back up the beanstalk and get back onto his cloud and back to the castle, as the beanstalk fell with a loud thud. "Oh, Jack, I'm so worried about you," sobbed Jack's mother. "I'm just so glad you're safe." But as she spoke, they heard a loud quacking noise from behind them. When they turned around, they saw the goose Smiley that laid a golden egg. The goose laid golden eggs of solid gold, which is why the giant's castle was covered in gold. "Hurrah!" shouted Jack. "Hurrah!" shouted his mother. "Quack!" smiled the goose. Thanks to the magic beans and Jack's bravery, they had rescued a goose which laid golden eggs, and Jack and his mother would never want the money to buy food or any clothing ever again. So as you see, magic beans might exist one day. Anyway, that's all from me today. I hope I get to see you all again very, very soon. Bye bye!